Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. Excuse me. I am back to post a quick video here, kind of jumping back on the Ask Mr. Hall of Fame series. After traveling so much the last couple months, kind of getting back into a regular routine, and this is one of the series that I really enjoy where you guys just ask me any questions you want to ask about anything, and just gives me a great opportunity to just get a chance to interact with you on different levels outside of just, showing records and that type of thing. So love these videos. Leave any questions that you have, and please do not leave questions on this video. Go to the link down below, which is the very first video that I did. Leave the questions there. That way I kind of have them all in one place. As I go through them and answer them, I hit the thumbs up so I know which ones I've answered and which ones I still need to answer in upcoming videos. So at the end of this video, please go over there and leave your questions there. But for now, let's just kind of really dive right in and just go down the list. So getting to one of the first ones I haven't answered here, Mark Yoga Park. Hi B, have you ever thought about what will happen with your collection after you're gone? Also considering the kind of work you're putting into this, and I hope you reach 100. So thanks for that. Yeah, it really kind of coincides with my obsessive organization. So number one, with my Discogs, I have every single album, the exact pressing in Discogs. I took the time to do that with every single one. And of course, with that, what you have is the low, medium, and high, blah, blah, blah. So then in my Excel spreadsheet, that's actually where I have the specific value based on the pressing and the condition of my LP. I have the exact value of each LP in my Excel spreadsheet, which of course is more accurate. There's a zip drive that sits right here in my computer that on top of it there's a sticker that has username, passwords, and all of that stuff to the Excel spreadsheet and everything. And the idea behind that is my mother would inherit my collection if something happened to me today. And of course she knows nothing about vinyl and all of that. But on the back of each album there's also a sticker that has basic information from the Excel spreadsheet, which is condition of album, condition of cover, what pressing it is, and the current approximate value of that album, which of course you have to go in all the time and you're constantly updating because the way the market's changing all the time. But at least she can flip something over and just look at one album and get an idea without having to look through databases or whatever else. But I think ideally what I would like her to do is she can take that zip drive and those passwords and everything that are right on top of it and go to Riverbend Records. And maybe like the Music Record Shop. I think maybe kind of a split between the two would be kind of awesome, because I love both those guys, Billy and Mark, and just do like a consignment sale. And I've actually just spoken to Billy about this a little bit over at Riverbend, but just do a consignment where she could go down there and say, hey, sell this for me, let's split it 70-30 or 75-25, whatever the case may be, and just do the consignment. And I think that would be cool for a number of reasons. Number one, she would be working with two guys that I know would do right by her, so that would make me feel good about that. Number two, she's going to get fair price, very good fair price for the collection. Number three, both those shops get to have an influx of what I consider to be some pretty cool stuff. So just to think about being able to leave that to guys that have just been so great to me and have been good friends to me over the course of my lifetime, or of course knowing them, not my entire life, but knowing them as the years that I've had, that would actually be a very, very good and exciting thing for me to feel, yeah, all these things I've loved so much are coming into your store and you get to sell it. That would be awesome. On top of that, having everything in Discogs and having the password right there, all you gotta do is just hand that stuff to Billy and hand it to Mark. They'll go right into Discogs. They don't have to do all the pricing and looking up. They don't have to do the cleaning. They don't have to do the putting in MoFi sleeves. They don't have to do any of that. It's just like, it's set to go. I know what the pressing is. If I want to change the price, I will, but very easy in the process and put it out on the floor. So that's kind of how I envision something happening if, my mother had to sell it. Ideally, what I would like is, as I get older and get to whatever point to where I don't want as much of the physical media anymore, I would just end up selling it myself and kind of going through that cycle. And I envision that as being putting a lot of the grails and just great stuff in, again, the Music Record Shop and Riverbend Records, because I like the idea of these loyal customers that have been, taking care of these shops and keeping them open here locally. Love them to have first dibs on all of that. So putting a good chunk of stuff in the shops, but then also maybe spending a year or so at the local record shows here and just being on the other side of the table and actually being a seller and just kind of selling my collection off over the course of a year or two at 5 or 6 different shows. Because I really think it'd be kind of exciting to be on the other side of the table when you know how it feels when you find a grail or something you really love, and how excited you are and how you talk to the guy about it, and all that stuff. It could be cool to experience that from the other side as well and actually get to feed off of people's excitement of finding things they've been looking for. So that's kind of my visions of how my collection will go full circle from coming into me to leaving me and all that good stuff. So really good question there. Next one here, me, myself, and my vinyl. What are your most memorable experiences collecting, both good and bad? Not a ton of bad experiences. There's definitely about 5 or 6 pieces that I've purged over the course of my lifetime that I got great fair value for them, but I just still really wish I had them back. So that's probably the one thing that sticks out as bad. But on the good side, definitely a ton of different good memories. The one that sticks out the most, though, is when I lived in Columbia. Kansas City was about 2 hours away, and I got word that there was this guy that had passed away who owned a couple of record stores. And this is early in my collecting, like the first year I was collecting. I had just a handful of records at the time. But this guy had passed away. He owned a record shop. Family wasn't going to continue it, so they were just going to sell everything. So between what he had in his stores, what he had in overstock in his stores, and what he had just in tons of stuff in stores he hadn't gone through yet, there was about 275,000 records. So they rent out this huge warehouse, 2 floors, tons of tables on each floor. And at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, they open the door and everything is $1 throughout the entire place. And there was about 150 of us that just go kind of rushing in there, and there was still tons of space to move around. The warehouses were huge. And we're looking through 100,000 plus records. And everything is $1. Everything's $1. So the interesting thing about it was, like, when you got a handful, you could go up to the front. They had some cubbies they had set up. A girl that was working that, so you give her your stuff, she gives you a ticket, and then you just keep bringing stuff to your cubby. And when you're ready to leave, you check out and grab all the records that you had. They did that for Saturday and Sunday, and at the end of that weekend, all the holes that were created, they would go and just grab a bunch of more records from the warehouses and bring it in and fill back up the boxes. And next Saturday morning, 9 a.m., boxes are full again, $1 again. And remember, nothing is in order. Nothing's alphabetized. There's no genres. It's just you have no idea what the next flip is going to bring. And I think I made that trip, 2 hours up and 2 hours back. I think I did that, it was 4 or 5 weekends in a row. And again, everything just $1 a piece. And keep in mind too, I think I ended up with like 185, 190 records. But this is before the vinyl resurgence as well. So don't think about dollar bins in the way that you think about dollar bins today. Because I remember, just off the top of my head, there was stuff like mint CCRs, original pressing things that I still have in my collection. The first 4 Loudness albums that I have in my collection, I got from there. All the Sweet albums that I have, I got from there. The first two albums by Winger, including the second one being Sealed, which I still have in my collection. It's like a $70, $80 record or something now. Like, that's the kind of stuff you were pulling for $1 out of those bins. And if anything, I just wish I would have been more knowledgeable at the time, because I know I skipped over just so much stuff that I had no clue about back then. Because I just gotten into collecting, and it was solely about just the albums that I liked. That's all that mattered. But I'm sure there were some gems that I missed. So that's a really good experience that I remember. Let's see. Next question here. It's kind of scrolled down. Blumbito Badilla, I think, says, "Hi B, my question: after the 6 January riot and the U.S. becoming a flawed democracy, Do you regret your decision to support Trump's far-right populist fascist regime? And do you think your musical taste reflects these values? Interesting question for sure. And let me start off by saying I don't mind questions like this at all. Matter of fact, maybe I don't talk about it as much here in the VC because I tend to keep everything music here, but I love talking politics, religion, philosophy. Why is this? No, don't just tell me why. Don't just feel. Explain, articulate. Let's dissect each other's points of view and really, like, my love for music is here. My need and love to do that is like right there. It's just a beautiful mental exercises that I love, that I kind of need actually. It's just sad thing is it can be hard to talk about that stuff these days because for some people it just gets, that story. But let me kind of go through and just dissect this a little bit because I'm not even sure like how to answer it, or maybe I'm not even as clear of what the question is because it seems like this is more of a statement disguised as a question, where someone wants to make a statement about what they think and how they feel, but then we put a question mark at the end of it. It sounds like you're asking a question, but it seems really to be more a statement about how much you hate Trump. So that's kind of the first thing I kind of dissect from it. The second thing I would say is, let's see, after the 6th January riot and the U.S. becoming a flawed democracy, I think the other thing that the question I would have if we were talking, actually having a conversation, is anytime I've seen someone mention 6th of January and talk about it being such a negative and bad thing, the one thing I've found very frequently, very, very frequently, is that's usually an individual who never said much negative about all the other hundreds of riots that took place 2 years prior to that taking place, which is something I find very, very interesting, that depending on a political point of view, typically is when destruction is accepted or destruction is not accepted. For me personally, if you want to know my opinion about that piece, I feel like someone who goes into the Capitol and jumps up and down on a desk and all of this type of stuff, that's total stupidity. The exact same way I felt when, just 9 blocks from where I worked downtown in St. Louis, a person who's supporting Black lives breaks into a black business and shoots and kills a black man inside of a black business. Total stupidity. Like, just that total complete lack of being uncivilized in those scenarios. I think it's all stupidity in my book. So I'd be curious again if you felt that same way, when trying to set the federal building on fire in Portland. Does it feel the same way with idiots breaking into the Capitol in Washington? It's like, is it the same stupidity to you, or is one okay and one not okay? So that's kind of the first thing I take from that. And the U.S. becoming a flawed democracy, again, if we were having a real-time conversation, I think it's always good to distinguish between a democracy and a representative republic, because there's actually a lot of things in democracy that conflicts with a representative republic. So that would be a fun conversation to have. And do you regret your decision to support Trump's far-right populist fascist regime? Again, I think that's more of a statement about Trump. Number 2, with a lot of the things like, especially with these type of words today that have really lost a lot of meaning, fascist, even stuff like white supremacy, racist, like a lot of these words just don't even have meaning anymore, that they've almost boiled down to someone is disagreeing with what I want. And those words really seem to come out. And again, it's a nice long conversation I've had with a lot of people, especially about the racism part, with me being black and kind of giving some points of view that people maybe haven't thought about as much. So again, that would be kind of a conversation I would love to have live. And the last part, do you think your musical taste reflects these values? Again, I feel like these referring back to your distaste for Trump. But so again, I feel more of a statement than a question. But let me kind of rephrase that into a question. And let's just say, does my music reflect my values? Does my musical taste reflect my values? That might be actually more of a question I can answer. And the thing I would say is, in some cases, yes, some cases, no, but music is not there to reflect my values. It's there to make me feel. Makes me feel, make me reminisce, make me experience. And I think that that's a very important distinction because, like, for example, I have very, very strong and firm Christian beliefs without question. I mean, I was born and raised apostolic, and it guides a significant, it's a significant guiding piece of my life. Now, sometimes if I'm maybe interacting with other Christians or something of that nature, there's some that might say, or that have said, interesting, like Slayer, Devil Driver, Megadeth, um, kind of, like it's not quite lining up in my head. Like this, God hates them all. Like this out, like what? Um, and so the way that I've always kind of found to explain that value system thing, like again, does music guide your values? Is have I been to Vegas before? Yes. Don't go very frequently, but yes, I've been. I've gone into a casino. I take $20 and I put it into a slot machine, and I'm playing the slots, and you're seeing the lights, and then they're ding 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 ding. It's like yes, I won. And like $4 comes out because I'm paying like penny or nickel slots. You win $4 and you keep playing, and then I've always just kind of played until my $20 was gone, and then I left, and it was kind of like playing a video game, you know. So at that same casino, there was somebody there who had their lucky rabbit's foot. They had their yellow sock on one foot and their red sock on the other foot because that generates some type of luck. They have these ritual habits. They have to sit in this chair and all these things they feel that brings them luck. There's some power above that brings luck by they doing all these things, and they're there trying to pay their rent. And they have a gambling addiction or something like that. Now, we both are in a casino. We both are gambling, but there are two completely and totally different sets of value systems that are taking place in there. So what I always say with that is I don't judge someone by if they're in a casino or not, because that's not a reflection of their value system. So I say the same thing about music. I don't judge someone by just what the music they listen to, because there could be a completely different set of values that music is not really a reflection of, that they enjoy that music for some other reason. And that's kind of really how I view my collection is, no, in a lot of, not say a lot of cases, but in plenty of cases, it's not a reflection of my value system, which is why, Slayer can sing about God hates them all. Doesn't affect the Christian values that I have, because I'm not taking that into my value system. I'm enjoying the riffs. I'm enjoying the energy of heavy metal music. I'm not embracing your values. I'm sorry. And you can have your values in front of me without it rocking my world. At least not in the way I wanted to rock my world. Right? And I think that that's another thing, a place that we've kind of gotten to, is that people have just gotten so, ready to be triggered by everything, that every little thing that comes their way is like cracking in and just like bouncing around all in their value systems. And it's like, you need to get some thicker skin going again. I mean, we all have things that bother us, but I think you know what I mean by that. And so that's the same reason why if an artist starts saying something that I don't like, or supporting a candidate I don't like, or all that type of stuff, my first instinct into, oh, they're out of here, I'm throwing away all their records, I'm blah blah blah. Now if someone else wants to do that, I mean, again, your values are your values, so you do what you do. But no, them doing something stupid, or them saying something stupid, or something I don't like, or whatever else, they're not going to penetrate me to change my values. And part of my value is I like the beat of that song. You don't get to change that because you say whatever or whatever. So whether it's politics or religion or that type of thing, no, none of that controls. None of that stuff creeps in to change my values and make me alter what music I listen to or not. Now, granted, there has been one or two albums here or there over the years, mainly on the kind of stuff that's a little too satanic, or just for whatever reason. Just if I feel that it rubs me wrong, I'll be like, I can pass on that. I could do without that. But it's these even weird stuff like Marilyn Manson, for example. Like, something just didn't feel right to me about having an album that said, Antichrist Superstar. I didn't like that for whatever reason. But I have an album that says God Hates Us All by Slayer, or a number of other things. But for whatever reason, that Manson title, it's like, for whatever reason, I just don't like that one. It just didn't sit well with me. So that's cool. But there's songs on there that I like, so I'll go get the Marilyn Manson Lest We Forget Greatest Hits. So I'm not avoiding him or even avoiding some of my favorite songs off of that album. It's just I don't have to have this cover and this. It's just I just prefer. So just kind of that's kind of how I approach value systems within my music. So anyway, I'm like 4 or 5 minutes over here, so I'll shut up. But again, as always, great questions, VC, and let me know what you think. Go to the link down below, leave questions there, and I look forward to the next Ask Mr. Hall of Fame. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Take care.